All right, let's talk March Madness. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're pulling back the curtain on our own machine learning model. We put it through the ringer, backtesting it on the 2026 tournament, and now we're sharing everything, the good, the bad, and everything in between. This is a totally transparent, no-holds-barred look at what worked and what didn't. Let's get right into it. So there it is, 71.6%. That was the headline number, the model's overall accuracy across all 67 games in the tournament. But what does that actually mean? Picking the winner in about 7 out of every 10 games, is that good? Is it bad? To figure that out, we've got to dig a lot deeper. And this is absolutely crucial. This was a true out-of-sample backtest. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying we didn't cheat. We made all our predictions using only the data we had before the first game tipped off. No peeking, no going back and tweaking the model to make it look better. This is as honest a test as you can run. So to put some hard numbers on that percentage, that's 48 correct picks out of 67 total games. It's a solid number for sure, but a number floating in space doesn't really tell the whole story, does it? Exactly. A number without context is pretty much useless. So the real question is, how good is 71.6% really? Well, to find out, you have to put it up against the best in the business. So yeah, let's ask that big question. How did our model stack up against some of the names you probably already know and trust in sports analytics? Okay, so if we just zoom in on the first round, our model hit at 68.8%. And as you can see, that puts us right there, neck and neck with industry gold standards like KenPom and FiveThirtyEight. And importantly, it puts us well ahead of the average bracket that people fill out at home. So right off the bat, we know it's performing at a really competitive professional level. But here's the deal, and this is super important. Just picking the favorite every time will get you a pretty decent accuracy score. The real value, the true magic of a model like this, isn't just about being right. It's about being right when almost everyone else is wrong. It's about having the guts to make those contrarian calls and nailing them. That's the real test. And that brings us to where our model really flexed its muscles. It's not just about how many games it got right, but about the confidence it had in its picks, and one monster call that went completely against the grain. Check this out. This is all about what we call calibration. In the 10 games where the model was the most sure, I mean screaming that a team had a 75% or higher chance to win, it was right 9 out of 10 times. That's a fantastic sign. It means that when the model tells you it's really, really sure about something, you should probably listen. But the single most impressive prediction, the one that really made us sit up and take notice, it came on the biggest stage of the whole tournament. It was a moment where the model just completely disagreed with what everyone else was thinking. Here it is, the final four. The consensus? I mean, pretty much everybody was picking Arizona. But our model, it just said, nope. It gave Michigan a massive 70.1% chance to win. That is a bold, bold call to make against the crowd in such a high-stakes game. So what happened? Michigan didn't just win. They absolutely dominated, winning by 18 points. That right there was the model's mic drop moment for the tournament, a high-confidence contrarian pick that paid off in a huge way. And yeah, it even went on to correctly pick Michigan to win the whole shebang. Okay, so we've had our victory lap. But you can't build credibility by only showing your highlight reel. You have to be brutally honest about where you went wrong. So let's dive into the misses, because honestly, that's where the most important lessons are. And yep, here they are. That one at the very top, NC State versus Texas, that one hurt. The model was almost 80% confident that NC State would win, and Texas pulled it out by 2. It was our only miss among those top 10 most confident picks, and it definitely stings. But it also teaches us something vital. This is the key takeaway from that loss. A model is only as good as the data you feed it. And what this shows is that pure statistical confidence needs to be balanced with real-world context, like last-minute injury news. It's a huge lesson and a great reminder that no model can see everything. All right, for this last piece of analysis, we're going to look at something that on the surface looks like a failure. We're going to talk about the round where our model did the worst, and I'm going to try to convince you that this weakness is actually a sign that the model gets it. Just take a look at this table. You see pretty solid accuracy all the way through, and then bam, the Sweet 16. A big dip down to 62.5%. It sticks out like a sore thumb, right? It almost looks like the model just broke for a round. But it's not a bug. It's what we call the Sweet 16 trap. And the reason is actually pretty simple when you think about it. By the time you get to the Sweet 16, all the weaker teams have been weeded out. You're left with 16 legitimate powerhouses. The talent gap between them is razor thin, so of course it's harder to predict. Any model's predictive edge is going to shrink. This dip isn't a bug, it's a feature of a super competitive round. So what does this all mean when you put it together? Well, it comes back to that idea of calibrated probabilities. This backtest proved that the model's core calibration is solid. It was reliable when it was most confident. It made an absolutely legendary contrarian call in the Final Four, and it even correctly understood the built-in weirdness of the tournament structure. And that really leaves us with one final thought. In a world that is just flooded with post-game hot takes and Monday morning quarterbacks, what's the actual value of a prediction you can see and you can verify for yourself before the game even tips off? If this kind of transparent data-first analysis is something you're into, you can get this exact model live via our API at zenhodl.net. There's a 7-day free trial, and every single prediction is published on-chain, so you can always verify it before the game starts. Thanks for watching.